Hey, thanks for joining. You did it. Nice job. Introducing our project management trainer, speaker, author, and coach to thousands of professionals and organizations worldwide, including NASA, the U.S. Air Force, USACE, U.S. Army, the Department of Transportation, the FBI. Your friend, Phil. Over to you, Phil.
Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing awesome today. We're going to be speaking about the 49 processes. It's a question that many people preparing for the exam have. So we're going to take a look at our favorite page in the PMP guide, page 25. Don't you just love page 25? We're going to take a look at that, and I'm going to show you some really rapid ways to get this information into your head for your PMP exam. So let's take a look at the whiteboard really quick here. You know that there are 49 processes, okay? First of all, you need to know the breakdown of these processes and how they are bucketized, because that's going to help you keep track of them. So we have initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. You probably already know that. But the numbers associated with each of the processes: 2, 24, 10, 12, and 1. So there are 2 processes in initiating, 24 in planning, 10 in executing, 12 in monitoring and controlling, and 1 in closing. How do you get these processes into your head as easily as possible? Well, after remembering these numbers, there are some overarching rules, if you will, that will help you keep these processes in your head. And I'm going to tackle these out of order, so we're not going in order here. So let's talk about planning first of all, okay? If you zero into planning, with the exception of develop project management plan at the top, with the exception of this process, we have this configuration across all of the 10 areas of knowledge, okay? So let's account for the 10 areas. Accounting for the 10 areas of knowledge, let me just zoom in here so that you got a good view. All of the processes in planning, with the exception of develop project management plan and those other processes that are not where a subsidiary plan is developed, apart from those, all of the first process that you find in every knowledge area follows the configuration plan X management. See that? Where X is the knowledge area that corresponds to what is on the right. The knowledge area corresponds to the X, or the X is the knowledge area name. Here's another example. Schedule. The very first process you encounter in schedule management is plan schedule management. See? Plan, schedule, management. Where schedule is the X. Excuse my horrid writing there. The same thing for cost. Plan, X, in this case, X is cost management. Same thing for quality. Plan, quality management. You see, they all follow that configuration where a subsidiary plan is being developed. You see? So in this first one, scope. So think about it. If you can get these down, okay, plan resource management, plan communications management, plan risk management, plan procurement management. We have one exception here, plan stakeholder engagement. The E is important because in the philosophies of the PMI, you do not manage these folks. You manage the engagement, but you don't manage them. So it's called plan stakeholder engagement. Plan how you're going to keep them engaged versus plan how to manage them. That is a change that was introduced in the 6th edition. So as you can see, with that rule, pretty much 10 of those processes are down. So if you remember the rule, plan X management, that helps. Okay, so the first point I told you about was the numbering system. You got to know the numbering system. I also talked about the 5 process groups, and the mnemonic for the 5 process groups is I prefer eating mangoes chilled. Some people are very fussy about how they eat their mangoes. They want them chilled. They don't want them warm. That's a mnemonic that a 10-year-old at the time, my daughter, came up with, believe it or not. I prefer eating mangoes chilled. You got to start teaching them PMBOK when they're young, right? So that when they get old, they're not going to be like some project management lawyers out there. All right, so that is planning, pretty much 10 down. Now, I would like to jump across to monitoring and controlling. Let's make it red. Dun, dun, dun. Everyone's scared of monitoring and controlling. You see, that's how PMP exam questions set you up. Not everyone is scared. Some. You see, if that was an option on the exam and you selected it, it would be wrong because not everybody is scared. Some are scared. All right, now in this next domain, as our friends at headquarters call it from time to time, in monitoring and controlling, we kind of echo this same X management principle, okay? But here, instead of saying plan X management, the configuration now becomes either control X or monitor X. Or in the case of one process, kind of like both. So let's take a look at how that spreads across here. So control X when humans aren't at the center. If humans are at the center, then you're going to use a different rule. If humans are involved at the center, then, did I hear someone say it should be this? Tells me what you're looking at or where you are. Okay, jokes apart, center, center. If humans are involved at the center, then monitor, because you should not be controlling human beings. So says our friend at headquarters. Now, we don't do this to human beings such as stakeholders or when we are communicating and things such as that. Also, when we cannot control a particular outcome, also known as risks, when we cannot control the outcome of risks, which is, pretty much you can monitor, but you can't control. We use the word monitor risks. All right, so let me show you how that pans across. What I've shown you pretty much can be used for most of the processes, okay? So let's forget about integration and its anomalies, okay? It's a bit of an anomaly. But talking about scope, if we zoom in, we've got two processes in scope, okay? Now, let's leave the first one alone, but the second one is control. You see, the word control is used, and then the knowledge area. Same thing for schedule. Control, and then X, where X in this case is schedule. See? Control, cost, control, quality, control, resources. Someone says, but Phil, aren't resources human? Well, in this case, we are not referring to the humans. Control resources, as you probably already know, is exclusively for those non-human resources, or resources that we call physical resources. Okay, so keep that in mind. Moving down the list, we've got communications. Humans are involved, so we're going to monitor communications. We're going to monitor risks, and we're going to control procurement, and we're going to monitor stakeholder engagement. So you can see, if you take a look out here, that those that have the monitor clause, they are towards the bottom of the chart. So it starts from communications, then immediately risk, then it skips one where we have the word control used, and that, okay? So if you look at this, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 18 processes that you have down with simple rules. Plan X management, control X, monitor X. Okay? Now, if we go into the next domain to be addressed here, closing, there is only one process, close, project, or phase. It has the word close in it, and you just need to remember you can close out a phase in the project or the project as a whole. You could close out either or. Keep that in mind. Going to the very first one, this one you do need to remember this code. Develop project charter. This one is non-negotiable. Nothing I can do to help you there. Oh, maybe there is. Just stick around. And the last one going down, you just need to remember the sequence. After I develop my charter, I need to identify stakeholders. Okay? And going into the executing domain, folks, one thing that can help you remember a few of the processes here is the word manage. Okay? The word manage. Now, if we start from the top, the very first area, the very first domain that we have up here, okay, we have direct and manage. See, direct and manage. DM, manage, direct and manage, project work. The second thing we've got is called manage project knowledge. You see, the word manage, it occurs a lot. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. And here we have manage quality. See that? So the word manage is the recurring theme. In risk, we have implement, I beg your pardon, in resources. This is one where we have the word manage as the third in the group of the terrible three. So we have acquire, team, develop, team, and manage. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm living in the world of the 5th edition. Acquire resources. Every now and again, my brain just helps me self-correct. Acquire resources, develop team, and manage team. That is hilarious. Okay, good habits, or should I say old habits, die hard. That is a classic cutout. I'm sure other trainers have had their 5th edition moment where you suddenly realize, I'm not in the 5th edition. I'm in this one. The 6th. The 6th, the 6th, and the 6th. Oh, that sounds negative. Let's leave that alone really quick. ADM. All right? You remember the ADM for network diagrams, acquire, develop, manage, right? ADM also stands for arrow diagramming method. So if you remember ADM from chapter 6, hopefully you remember the sequence. Oh, I've got an ADM somewhere else. And you know, chapter 6, if you turn it upside down, you're going to get a 9. So you remember ADM in 6 happens in 9. That is a trick for you to remember. These 3, I call them the terrible 3. You might call them the terrific 3. Yeah, get them down. My NLP friend, Lauren, she will not tolerate me using negative language. I'm trying to reform myself. Okay, ADM. All right, and then going down to the next one, we have manage again, communications. In risk, we have implement risk responses. This is an anomaly, okay? But the good thing is you can remember the internal rate of return. In our book, in the Project Management Essentials book, those of you who are our students, you know that we've actually got this buttoned down pretty tight in chapter 3. So we've got IRR talked about. So, you know, you just remember these little things, the kind of repeat phrases or groups of letters, ADM, IRR, that's implement risk responses. Over here, we have an anomaly, conduct procurements. The PMI have vehemently stuck to that one. So we got conduct procurements there. So we got IRR, like I said here. We got conduct procurements here. And down here, we've got manage. The word manage again. Manage stakeholder engagement. Okay. So when you zoom out and take a look at the landscape for executing, you can see that we've got the word manage up there, got it here in the middle, and we got it a couple towards the bottom, okay? Now there is a video that I've got out there that goes into a lot more detail regarding these 49 processes and how to get some of the information down. So I'm going to show you an excerpt from that. I'm going to show you a slide from that, and I hope that this will help you remember the 49 processes. All right, so let's go. You look at integration, you got David dances delightfully many Mondays playing chords. Develop project charter, develop project management plan, direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge, monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control, and close project or phase. If you look at the next one for scope, we've got plan, scope management, collect requirements, define scope, create WBS, validate scope, and control scope. For schedule, we've got Paul doesn't sing excellently during concerts. Plan, schedule management, define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity durations, develop schedule, control schedule. Or for cost, I should have told you we've got the mnemonic on the left for the knowledge areas, which you can memorize as well. But I'm not going to bore you reading the entire chart. Okay, you guys can take a look at what's there. There is a video where I talk about this stuff as well, going through the different mnemonics. I think the mnemonic that a lot of people are quite happy about is the first one, because integration is a seven-headed beast, and this one majorly because risk is also a seven-headed beast. And that's just a goofy mnemonic, but I've got all sorts of mnemonic variants for those folks who need mnemonics to get this stuff down. So ponies in Peru prefer peppered icy mangoes. That is quite a visual. But anyway, that's just my little goofy way that you guys can get these processes, the 49 processes, into your head. But even better than having to cram and memorize, this is what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to write a scenario in cases where you are stuck in a knowledge area. You got to write a narrative. You got to write a scenario for that knowledge area and truly go through the motions in your head of what exactly is being done. I also want to challenge you, if you have not checked out the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's website, as you know, I always preach on this channel, check out the CDC website. You should check out the CDC website because it has some awesome templates which you guys might be interested in. And these templates, they help sensitize you to some of the outputs from the 49, which could help you get the information to stick. All right? I believe I've said this ad nauseum on this channel. So let me show you what that looks like, if I can. And the link to go to, folks, is tiny.cc/sigma, as in Six Sigma PMO. If you go to that link, lo and behold, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they have done an awesome job in putting this together. I credit them for doing this. And I send my students here all the time. Pillage the site. Taxpayer money was spent on it. Why don't you use it? I believe the people who worked on this, in fact, I did some of my research and I realized that one of the people who worked on this is a PMP. So this should be safe for your consumption. No poison on this site. Okay, so I advise you go there, check it out, use it. You might find this to be helpful as you study for your PMP exam. Okay? So I want to thank you very much for joining me on this touch point. I am curious to know if you have any questions that I can answer for you, because you know that's how I roll. I'm always trying to answer questions, real questions that you have about PMP exam prep. You know, like when I tried to get ready for the exam, I made several start and stop feeble attempts. I didn't have the luxury of social media back in the day. I mean, we had, what do you call it, MySpace, and back then no one was really, actually MySpace 2005 maybe it was on the scene, but most certainly wasn't being used the way we use YouTube. I mean, now you got a gazillion people out there in the world training this stuff. In fact, I didn't share with you the stats of REPs last night. I should have, it's somewhere. But the stats of the people who are REPs in the world, I think we got about 1,500 companies that are registered education providers. So there's obviously a lot of training going on regarding project management, but we didn't have that luxury back then, you see. So anyway, that's the CDC's website. You can see, check it out, download that stuff, use it. Use it to give yourself a visual. And like I said, to make the information stick, folks, just create some stories, some scenario stories of what happened in the world of project management. Make up a story, you know. Maybe go as far as, for those project managers who say, Phil, I've never used a project charter before. Well, maybe make a project charter. Or people say, well, in my firm, we don't create project management plans, or we don't create schedules. Maybe it's about time you did one. Okay, create a schedule. Go download Billy's software program for scheduling. Mr. Billy. Talking about the Microsoft friends, go there. Microsoft Project is not an enemy. It's something we train in my firm, to be honest. And my buddy Colin and Tim, they are my gurus. They would run circles around anyone in MS Project, including me. So I usually just defer to them when I'm stuck. They've been part of the team that writes the questions for Microsoft. So if you ever need MS Project training, you know what to do. You know who to hit up. Here's the knowledge area phone number as a reminder again. This is the number of processes in each knowledge area. And I encourage you to just use these little things to get these 5 process groups down pat for your PMP exam. All right. I want to say a big thank you to you for joining. Don't forget, send in those questions. I need your questions. I need your questions, all right? Do you have any questions before I hop off the call tonight? Going once. Please ask, please ask. Can't you ask yourself, buddy? Going 3 times, folks. And with that, thank you all very much. I look forward to speaking to you again on one of these touch points. Take care and bye for now.